Please give it up, my friend and yours, Mr. Marc, everyone! Thank you, Ari. The great thing about sitting back there and watching all these stories is that when people tell them, there are those moments that they recapture, and you can feel the trippy movement. But you can see people doing it, and I'm very excited to do it. Because I haven't done drugs in 10 years, and I used to do a lot of drugs. That's why I haven't done them in 10 years. And I never really did a lot. I did a lot of mushrooms, I did a lot of acid, but I was never full bore into it because it always frightened me. There was always an element of fear and distrust when I took them. And the first experience I ever had was a guy gave me a hit of mescaline. I was a senior in high school, and I waited 3 hours for it to come on, and it did not come on. So I went home to my parents' house, and I got into bed, and I closed my eyes, and I was lost. Literally, I did not know where I was. And I started to panic, and I was like, fuck, I gotta tell my parents. And because there's moments when you're a kid where like the only salvation is if someone takes me to the emergency room. So I kept thinking I'm gonna tell my parents. I'm like, that's fucking ridiculous. So I tried to go to sleep again, and I wouldn't know where I was when I closed my eyes. And then it seemed to me that the only thing I could do was masturbate as much as possible. So I'm tripping on mescaline, and I'm jerking off like an animal, just like an animal. And because it was the only thing I could focus on. Everything else was too frightening and daunting when I closed my eyes. And every time, and I jerked off like 4 times, which is ridiculous, but it was the only thing I could do. And I swear to God, every time I would come, my brain exploded in like Aztec pinball machines. Just weird little balls dropping. And it was so spectacular. You know, I just remember my mother going, what is going on with you? I'm like, I can't even explain it. But it was great. But I made it through that night, and that's not really the story I want to tell, because it's not that interesting. And it didn't get me high. You know, I mean, I don't feel high yet. I want to feel high now. When I was in college, and despite what Steve Agee said, I did go through a Grateful Dead period because I lived with a bunch of deadheads, and there were 4 of them. And there was this guy that they knew who grew mushrooms, fresh mushrooms, in his closet. He had this kit, so he grew fresh mushrooms. And no one had ever seen these before. And you had to treat them a certain way. I mean, fresh mushrooms had to be boiled into like a stew, and it was blue. It was this big blue pot of mushroom stew, and then they'd strain the blue liquid, and you had to add sugar to it to activate it. So they add Kool-Aid. So there was always Kool-Aid in the fridge, and you never knew which one was which or what your day was going to be like. You're like, which Kool-Aid is this? You know, you can either get ready to go to class, and the sparks will be coming out of your head. But here's what happened, because I actually learned something, and I didn't do a trip like Brody did, or just, I wasn't out to party necessarily, but I did learn one of the most important things I ever learned in my life on mushrooms. And what happened was, my 4 roommates were going to see Jerry Garcia. He was playing at the Orpheum in Boston. And I wanted to go, but I didn't have a ticket. And then some girl in one of my classes said she had an extra ticket, so I bought her ticket from her. So the night we're going to the show, we drink the blue tea. And we go to the Orpheum, and like right when we get there, you know, it's just starting to, I feel it starting to kick in. And then I realized, like, fuck, all my roommates, they're my friends, they're going to sit somewhere else, and I gotta sit with these girls I don't know, and I'm tripping. And I can feel it starting to come on. These girls, it's like her and her sister, and it's awkward, and I don't know them, and you know, my friends are down there, and I'm like, oh no. And like, you know, like that feeling like, you know, like a ship is going away. Hey. And I'm still here on the thing. And so I remember I'm sitting next to these girls, and I'm starting to trip, you know, and it's not good, you know, like, because you feel it in your throat, and all of a sudden you feel like you're sweating some sort of toxin, like, you know, like everything is starting to sort of clench up, and I'm gulping a little, and they're looking at me like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm good. And then Rick Danko from the band comes out and does 2 songs for reasons I don't understand. He's not on the bill. He comes out, he does Mystery Train and Stage Fright, and he's all tweaky and trippy. And like I got up to go to the bathroom, and there was a dude in the lobby like taking down a rope that wasn't there. He just sat there like this. And I stood there for like 30 seconds, just watched them fight in the urge to go, keep it coming, just keep it coming, we're good, you know. I go back in, and it's like in between Rick Danko and Terry Garcia, and I'm just starting to rock, and I'm starting to sweat, and I'm fucking freaking out, like, you know, and then that thing happens where I close my eyes, and I'm like, I don't know where I am, and, because that's the only thing I know that is consistent with tripping, is that if I close my eyes, I will be lost. And I'm trying not to close my eyes, which is bad. You know, because like these girls are sitting next to me, I'm like this, you know, I'm just sitting there, I can't close them, you know. And they're like, are you okay? I'm like, no, I'm good, I'm having a good time. You know, my eyes are bugging out. And then they start to get concerned about me. And they're like, are you sure you're okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And they're like, do you want some gum? And it was one of those questions where you're like, yes. That's exactly what I want. I want gum. And they had this piece of gum, and I'm like, oh. And I put the gum in my mouth, and I didn't know it was fresh enough, and it squirts, you know, so at this moment where I put it in there, like, and it squirts, I'm like, oh my God! And I pull it out. I'm like, I think I'm bleeding. And I'm like, am I bleeding? At the end of my tongue. And I'm like completely panicked. I can't close my eyes. I'm starting to sweat. And then I realize what it is. And they're like, it's freshen up. I'm like, oh, freshen up. Oh, yeah. I like freshen up. And I put it in my mouth. And then this other thing starts to happen. I start chewing the gum. And like, somehow or another, I became the gum. Like, I could feel myself becoming the gum. And I started to act like the gum in my mouth. I'm sitting next to these girls, and I'm like, because I could feel my teeth, but I wasn't going too hard on it. I was being gentle on the gum, because I was a single circle. You know, it was okay. And then I look over at them, they're like freaked out. I'm like, ah! And I take the gum out, and then I'm just falling. I got nothing. Gum's gone. They think I'm fucking out of my mind. I don't tell them my trip. And my friends are long gone on their ship. And then Garcia comes out. Jerry comes out. And something horrible happened. I look at Jerry, and I'm not good with him. You know, if there's anybody that is supposed to be good for this, Jerry's going to guide me through. And I'm looking at Jerry, and he's fat, and I think he's going to die. And he just looks uncomfortable. And now I'm like, no, I'm really in trouble. And he's got his guitar, and I'm like, this is awful. It looks like he's going to explode. He's going to explode Jerry juice all over everybody. And I don't know what to do, and I can't reach out to them. I can't go to my roommates. I can't go to the emergency room, though I was thinking about it. For some reason in my head, it's like the emergency room. I need to go to the emergency room. And then I see one of those guys who's sitting in front of me. You know, one of those guys, you've seen them if you've been alive for a while and you've done any of this. They're just dudes that have just done way too much acid. And they can't hide it anymore. They operate at a different frequency than other people. You know, they always talk like this, you know. And you see them at these shows, and they're still around. I mean, they're hard to find here, but in San Francisco, you know, they're still there. I mean, there are people at the top at Haight-Ashbury that like took Jim Morrison's advice in the 60s, broke on through to the other side, neglected to make note of the door back. And literally these guys, you know, you see them because they look right through you. I mean, they have that weird fucking evil hippie thing going. Like, I've walked by those guys where they're like, you got $1? And I'm like, yeah, if you just give me back what you just took out of my soul with your fucking eyes. So one of those guys is sitting in front of me, and I didn't know where else to go with this. You know, and I figured he'll help me. You know, he'll throw me a line. So I lean in and I go, hey man, pretty soon, one day, Jerry and his guitar are just going to be like one thing. That's what I said to him. And I'll never forget what he said, because I still think about it. He just cocks around and goes, just hang on, man! And I did. And I am to this day. Thank you. Good night.